In a short I released a while back, I talked about what I consider to be the best moves in Smash considering any personal power-up a character can receive. The moves I talked about were Wario's fully charged Waft, Lucario's Aura Sphere at full aura, Sephiroth's one-winged down smash, Incineroar's full revenge powered up Alolan Whip, and Hero's full mana magic burst. A lot of the time, when talking about the best moves in Smash, people like to talk about how they function in a vacuum, and will oftentimes also exclude any boosts the character gets, like Joker with Arsene or Sephiroth with One Wing. Some of my favorite Smash Bros content creators like Mockrock and Esam for example, will do this exact thing I mentioned to have a sense of balance in their rankings, which absolutely makes sense to do. However, in this video, I won't be doing any of that. I want to look at the most powerful moves in Ultimate and see how the game attempts to balance them. Any move that can be used in a competitive setting is on the table. If a character has multiple powered up moves or has a powered up state that affects multiple moves, I will only look at what I consider to be the most powerful out of those moves. I will also not be including any moves from the original list I made in that short, but if those same characters have other powerful moves, they are fair game as well. With all that being said, let's get right into analyzing the strongest powered up moves in Smash Ultimate. When you think of powered up characters, you will probably immediately think of Joker, and you should. Once his Rebellion gauge fills up, he gets access to Arsene, which powers up pretty much all of his moves. The strongest out of all of them though has to be his back air. In my opinion, this is the best back air in the game, yes, better than Cloud's, as it has a massive disjointed hitbox that comes out on frame 7. It also has among the lowest total frames of any back air in the game at 31, making it very spammable. This makes it great for edgeguarding and killing, as well as using as a general spacing tool in neutral. It's also worth noting that this move's hitbox is low enough that, when rising, it can hit grounded opponents out of a short hop, meaning that it's actually a decent out of shield option on a cross-up, something that cannot be said about similar back airs. This move is balanced out by the fact that Joker's Arsene only lasts about 30 seconds, and it can only be obtained once Joker's Rebellion gauge fills up all the way, which will probably only happen a few times in the duration of a 3-stock game. Steve is a character who relies heavily on the materials he mines, and his tools include wood, stone, iron, gold, diamond, and his bare fists if he runs out. Like in Minecraft, diamond is the most powerful tool Steve can create, making almost all of his aerials and ground moves extremely strong. Choosing just one of these moves was hard, and it was down to diamond back air and diamond forward smash, but I ended up going with diamond back air. While not as big vertically as Joker's Arsene back air, Steve's diamond back air still has a lot of great disjointed horizontal reach with a longer lasting hitbox. This move is also not as spammable as Joker's, but it's also based on a durability system rather than a timer. Missing your opponent does not use up any durability, and diamond usually lasts around 10 hits when you do connect, which is plenty for a stock or two. When you consider that this move is stronger than Bowser's back air, faster than Wolf's, and safer than Donkey Kong's, you'll start to realize just how strong this move is. He needs it. Keeping on the theme of DLC, let's talk about Kazuya. Kazuya has just a few good moves we could talk about, with Electric Wind God Fist being the most obvious. While this move is very good, it doesn't really get powered up even with Kazuya's rage mechanic that boosts the damage output of his moves by a factor of 1.1. Instead, the move I want to talk about is Rage Drive, the very powerful one-time command grab that deals 40%, kills most characters at 80%, has super armor, and can even be used as a self-destruct move if all else fails. There's 3 ways you can land this move: pressing down and then special, pressing grab, or do this stick input to land an even more powerful version of the move. This move is balanced out by the fact that it only activates once per stock when Kazuya gets to 100%. It wears off if you take enough damage or miss Rage Drive too many times, and it only works when grounded. When you think of Mr. Game & Watch's most powerful move, you'd probably think that I'm talking about his side special Judge. However, he actually has an arguably stronger move than this under certain conditions. Mr. Game & Watch's down special, the Oil Panic, works in that it absorbs certain projectiles, and once his bucket gets full, he releases the oil he's collected in the form of a quick but short-range projectile. The power of this projectile depends on what projectile he absorbs, which can range from something weak like Fox's laser or Mega Man's pellets, or something strong like Samus's fully charged Charge Shot, or Ness's fully charged PK Flash. In the latter case, Mr. Game & Watch's Oil Panic essentially becomes a 2-frame insta-kill button with decent range. This is especially good for Mr. Game & Watch, who is able to somewhat consistently combo into this move from his down throw at 0%. This move is balanced out by the fact that it will only ever be this powerful when your opponent has a strong absorbable projectile like the ones I mentioned earlier, and the fact that this empties out Mr. Game & Watch's bucket after one use, forcing you to have to fill it up all the way back to full if you want to use it again. Hero is the only character on this list who also appeared in the short I released a while back, where I mentioned that his full mana magic burst is one of the best moves in the game. Due to his unique down special, the command selection, Hero has 21 different spells he can call from one input. The one that I ended up choosing to analyze for this video might surprise you, but I'm going to go with his Oomph and Psych Up boosted up throw. Oomph and Psych Up are both temporary buffs that Hero can give himself that affect certain attributes of his offense. Oomph increases his damage output by a factor of 1.6 and his knockback by 1.1, and Psych Up increases damage output by 1.2, knockback by 1.2, and shield damage by 1.65. With both of these, Hero's up throw kills at just over 100% for most characters, which is insane for an up throw. This is even earlier than Incineroar's full revenge boosted up throw, by the way. Oomph is balanced out by the fact that it only lasts 10 seconds, only affects melee attacks, and causes Hero to take 1.2 times damage from attacks himself. Psych Up is balanced out by the fact that it also only affects melee attacks, and will expire after connecting with one melee attack. Cloud was the second most broken character in Smash 4 after Bayonetta, partly due to his insanely unbalanced limit comeback mechanic that lasted for as long as he didn't use a special move. This not only buffed Cloud's movement stats, but also buffed one of his 4 specials, depleting the limit entirely after use. While this was nerfed in Ultimate so that the limit only lasts a max of 15 seconds, the 4 powered up specials are still very strong. The strongest out of them though has to be Side Special, Limit Cross Slash. Limit Climb Hazard is a great recovery tool but not super useful otherwise. Limit Blade Beam is a fast projectile but not as strong as Cross Slash in both damage and knockback. And Finishing Touch is all knockback, no damage. Limit Cross Slash does around 30% and kills most characters at 100% center stage and 70% at the ledge. It also does a fair bit of shield damage and is difficult to time if you're trying to parry or drop your shield at the right moment to punish Cloud. Little Mac is one of the worst characters in the game, and honestly the only thing keeping him from dead last is KO Punch. KO Punch is an extremely powerful move that Little Mac gets access to once his power meter is fully charged. This move is unblockable, comes out on frame 9, has 2 frames of super armor, reaches high enough to hit opponents on platforms, and kills most characters at around 25%. KO Punch is balanced out by the fact that the aerial version is much worse. Little Mac has put in 65 frames of end lag after using this move, and he loses KO Punch completely if he sent it to tumble, requiring him to charge the power meter all the way back to full in order to have a chance of using KO Punch again. The high points of this move though cannot be understated, and with it, Little Mac actually becomes quite a scary character to go up against. For the last entry on this list, we have yet another DLC character, Terry. His special treatment is in the form of his Go meter. This gives Terry access to 2 very powerful moves, Power Geyser and Buster Wolf. Power Geyser is a powerful explosion caused by Terry striking the ground with his fist, and Buster Wolf is a long-ranged hit grab that causes an explosion upon contact. Between these 2 moves, I find Power Geyser to be the strongest. The input is simply quarterback, half forward with the control stick, followed by 1 input of the attack or special button. Terry has 14 frames of heavy armor on the startup of this move, which has its sweet spot on the ground with 2 sour hits above it. The thing about these sour hitboxes though, is that this move kills off the top, so if you get hit by these sour hitboxes, that means you're higher up, and therefore closer to the top blast zone. Thus, the sour hit sometimes kills even earlier than the sweet hit, both of which have lingering hits for 6 frames. This sheer power combined with its armor and shield breaking potential makes this move the better of the 2 go moves of Terry in my opinion. Power Geyser is balanced out by the fact that Terry only has access to it when at or over 100% damage, and it is a unique input that can only be done while grounded. And those are just some of the best powered up moves in Smash Ultimate. Let me know in the comments if you feel I missed any, or if you disagree with any of the picks I made. And if enough of you enjoyed this video, I might just make a part 2. Anyway, I really appreciate if you made it all the way to the end of this video, as it did take a while to make. Thanks for watching.